Okay, I think we're live. Let's see how this goes. It's going to be an exercise in technical jerry-rigging. Anyways, so to start with this Raspberry Tau project. So we've agreed, and I've written it down, Raspberry Tau. Now that's not going to work. So we'll try and do this, Raspberry Tau. So this is the Raspberry Tau project. Here we go. Now, what do we mean by Raspberry Tau? So I thought we'd break it down into its parts. We've got raspberry. So let's do raspberry on one side. I'm just going to write this down. Bear with me. What can we break raspberries? Two aspects. Let's break it into two things. Raspberry. Raspberries are tart. And they are red. There we go. Two different things about that. And we're going to go with that because it makes perfect sense. Red. So, as you will see, I've written down raspberries. Raspberries are tart and red. You can see that. What do I mean by that? But let's first of all break down tau. Tau is the more obvious one. It's easy. Let's get it out of the way. Tau can be broken down into, obviously, pi and pi. This is how we came to this title because we're going to make 2 pies. But to get into more detail, we're going to do break down the raspberry. So tart. What do I mean by tart? Tart. Let's break down the word tart. T-art. I like this one because obviously, Tim, you being an artist, we can just say T-art, Tim Art, Tim Art. I'm just going to break that down into Tim Art. So we're going to break down raspberry into Tim Art and red. Red, in this case, it breaks down pretty easy to me. So red would symbolize in terms of my project, red being obviously the color of the Quebec flag. I've drawn one up really here quickly to show you. It can represent, say, the Montreal, my side of things. Can you see that at all? I'm wondering. Yeah. Okay, I've drawn up a Quebec flag. I even wrote Quebec underneath it, just to show you. I've always been interesting about that. I'm not very good with colors, obviously, but wondering why would Canada and Quebec choose the same color? Weird. Anyways, so I'll be red. We'll just call it red Quebec to represent me. So again, I'm writing notes so that I can keep it for afterwards. So I'll just show you what I wrote here so that we now have some fairly simple categories to break down. What is raspberry tau? We've got raspberry. It's tart and red. Tim Art and Quebec red. What? Anyways, and on the other side, tau to pi and pi. So, to save time, I've actually thought ahead of how I would have broken that down, and we can see maybe a better breakdown. What is the Raspberry Tau project up until now? Well, we have a tart pie made in Edmonton and a red pie made in Montreal. So, building on that, I think we've got a long way to go. We've got a long way to go. I think we've got a long way to go, but we can start by building on that. As it is, I think we've agreed on all those things, that we'd build kind of a similar sort of Raspberry Pi in both cities, in each city, that the Edmonton version would be more geared towards measuring outside temperature and relaying that temperature to a cell phone. Simple. So a tart pie is just your outside. It's cold. It's tart, right? Tim Art, tart. Cringing. It's all about it. It all works together. So the tart pie, the Edmonton one, an outside temperature measuring device run through a Raspberry Pi, and the Edmonton version, the red pie, if you were, is hot. Red, hot. Yeah, of course, it's hot. And we're doing inside temperatures. The red pie project would be measuring an inside temperature and relaying that. So perhaps there's a difference in terms of the calibration necessary. Perhaps decimal points is more important on the inside one, the outside one. But basically, we're making 2 Raspberry Pis. Essentially the same thing. I'm just trying to break it down into how we can define it, as you were. Next steps is getting the materials and then putting it together. But one step at a time, definitions and drawings. Okay, see you soon. Ba-dee-la, lee-la, 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 lum, bum, 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 ba-dee-da, da-da-la, lum, bum.